Little technical difficulty, but I'm working it out. I'm working it out. It's still early, y'all. It's still early. We're not giving up. The devil is not going to get his way today.
The reasons for my life are in a million faces. Like aching promises, I feel them in my bones. Slipping through my fingers to dance upon the road. The reasons for my life are more than I can hold. But oh, the sweet delight to sing with all my might, to spark the inner light of wonder burning bright. You're not alone. You're not alone. The reasons for my life are buried in deep places. Whose warmth will waken them, these seeds that I have sown, ringing through the madness to crash against the cold. The reasons for my life cannot be bought or sold. But oh, the sweet delight to sing with all my might, to spark the inner light of wonder burning bright. You're not alone. You're not alone.
Little technical difficulties on my end. I apologize, y'all. Where was I?
The reasons for my life are filling all my spaces. Like rushing waters flow, they carry me along. Twisting through my memory to pull free from the load. The reasons for my life are more than I was told. But oh, the sweet delight to sing with all my might, to spark the inner light of wonder burning bright. You're not alone. You're
I'm going to keep it moving. Sabrina, do me a favor and tell me this. Is there audio on the other one? I'm not moving because I'm having technical difficulties and I'm trying to get through my set. Today's set is about Chicago music, and I'm going to talk about my experience in ATL in hindsight. So if you want to gather your friends, if you want to share it, please feel free to do so. I'm going to rock these tunes and talk shit regardless, as I normally do. Hopefully you will find my thoughts inspiring as we continue to motivate and make it happen. Yes, a song was playing. I don't know, girl. Just rock with me in this level. Chicago music. That's what I'm on today. Hey, 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 hey. Good morning. Yes, indeed, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Good morning. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Good morning. We are here as I commandeer.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, love.
Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West, Mr. Fresh, Mr. By himself, he's so impressed. I mean, damn, did you even see the test? You got D's, motherfucker, D's. Rosie Perez, and yeah, it's barely passed. Any and every class, looking at every ass, cheated on every test. I guess this is my dissertation, homie. This shit is basic. Welcome to graduation. Good morning.
Good morning, loves. Good morning, loves. Chicago music is on deck. Good morning. Good morning, loves. Good morning, loves. Chicago music is on deck this morning. Good morning, loves. Good morning, loves. Chicago music is on deck this morning. Good morning, love. Good morning, love. Good morning, love. Hey.
Morning. On this day we become legendary. Everything we dreamed of. I'm like the fly Malcolm X, by any jeans necessary. Detroit where it cleaned up. From the streets to the league, from an eighth to a key. But you graduate when you make it up out of the streets. From the moments of pain, look how far we done came. Haters saying you changed, now you doing your thing. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, look at the valedictorian. Scared of the future while I hop in the DeLorean. Scared to face the world, complacent career student. Some people graduate but be still stupid. They tell you read this, eat this. Don't look around, just peep this. Preach us, teach us, Jesus. Okay, look up now, they done stole your streetness. After all of that, you receive this. Good morning.
Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down.
Every time that we hit them, good morning.
Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down.
Every time that we hit them, good morning.
Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down.
Every time that we hit them, good morning.
Hustlers, that's if you're still living, get on down. Get on down. Get on down.
And never let anybody say, boy, you can't make it, cause a feeble mind is in your way. No more tears do we cry, and we have finally dried our eyes, and we're moving on up, moving on up. Lord have mercy, we're moving on up, moving on up. We're living proof and all's alert that we're two from the good black dirt, and we're a winner. And everybody knows it too. We just keep on pushing, like your leaders tell you to. At last
all
that
praises
blessed day is
due to the
gone.
legend,
And I don't care
the
where
legendary
you come
Curtis
from.
Mayfield,
We're moving on
Chicago's
up.
very
Moving
own.
on up. Lord have mercy, we're moving on up. Moving on up. Woo.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are on a mission today. Regardless to the odds and the facts, I come here to state the facts, so sit back, take a listen while I glisten about this city that I'm living in and its oppression.
A great big Cadillac, against the white walls, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all, but remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac, diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean, gangster white wall, TV antennas in the back. You may not have.
You're not ready for that, Sabrina. You're not ready.
car at all. But remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you got. Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster lean. Woo-hoo. Diamond in the back, sunroof top,
Hey.
digging the scene with a gangster lean. Woo-hoo.
This is how we do it. Do it. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is how we do it. Do it.
Gangsta white walls,
TV
antennas
in the back. Hey, hey, hey.
may not have a car at all.
Hey, hey, hey. But remember, brothers and sisters, we can still stand tall. Just be thankful
Digging the scene with a gangster
for what you got. Ha, yeah.
diamond in the back,
Oh,
digging the scene with a
oh.
gangster lean.
This is how we doing it. Doing it. Oh, Chicago music. You know why we gotta have this session, right? You know why we gotta have this session? We gotta have this session because I got a blessing. When I went down to AT, I was stressing, trying to figure out where I belong. I'm still trying to figure out that shit in this song. I'm still trying to figure out where I belong, y'all. 40 plus years in the great city of Chicago and under embraced. What's a girl to do? What's a girl to do with that? What's a girl to do with that when she ain't got nothing but shy on her back? Nothing but shy on my back, baby. Huh. This is how we do it, though. This is what we doing today. We just gonna rock these tunes, y'all. I wish you could see me in my space. House, diamond in the back, sunroof top, dig in the scene with the gangster lean. Go call your people, bring your team so you can get in on the session and see what I mean. Hey, this is how we do it. Do it, yeah, yeah. On a Wednesday session. So, I'm gonna need your help today because I'm a little technology challenged right now. I got some inconsistencies with my internet connection, actually. Bring your friends to the chat room. I'm not gonna be doing a lot of sharing and running. I'm trying to be focused as I can on playing these tunes. And as I said earlier, it's all about Chicago today because because why is it about Chicago today? Maybe one of my Jedis, one of my comrades could tell me why Chicago's music needs to be on full display today. This is how we're doing it. Doing it. Hey, this is how we're doing it. Doing it. This is how I'm doing it. Doing it. Come on. This is how we doing it. Doing it. This is how I'm doing it. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna play this Avery R. Young tune. Avery R. Young is an artist here and has been here as long as I've been here, 40 plus years in the great city of Chicago. Avery is a poet. Avery is a singer. Avery is a beacon. Avery is a full-fledged artist in the great city of Chicago. And, people know Avery. I do believe that people know Avery. If you don't know Avery, if you haven't been introduced to Avery R. Young, here's your introduction. The song is called We Resurrect Fred, and it's one of my favorites.
My music be the blue we dog again. Jesus, we tree rooted. God here to see colored children wander in the wilderness. Jesus, we hand claps.
Come on, Jesus.
My music just like we always on beat. Jesus, you don't call my music anything. Call it lashback.
Come on, Jesus.
Hey, hey.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Resurrect Fred.
Hey.
Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Resurrect Fred. Him woman get lonely. Him children get hungry. Come on, Jesus. Yes. Resurrect Fred. And when them children get lonely, him woman take over hungry. Come on, Jesus.
Resurrect Fred. Ha!
I be 1E from free.
Yes.
Hey, just a 1E from free. Yeah. 1E from free. Hey, resurrect Fred. Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Come on, Jesus. Resurrect Fred. Brothers keep dying. Ain't no dying. Do me a favor. Liberate my neighbor. Resurrect Fred. Ain't no dying. So brothers keep dying. Ain't the song rolled away on the third day. Resurrect Fred.
Resurrect Fred.
Oh, come on, Jesus. You did it for Lazarus.
Hey.
And for those who don't believe me this evening, resurrect Fred.
I be 1E from free.
Hey, just a
1E from free.
Yeah.
1E from free.
Hey, yeah. Resurrect Fred. I be 1E
from free.
Hey, just a
1E from free. 1E from free.
Resurrect Fred.
Hey.
Resurrect Fred. Resurrect Fred. Resurrect Fred. Resurrect Fred. Resurrect Fred. Resurrect Fred. Resurrect Fred.
Last night, Popo put 12 pow-pows into a black boy body. Sit him wide-eyed from earth where him found truth and light be an ebonic motherfucker. And they do-wag reading Soul on Ice and Irish Rose. Now, him mama want her baby in bed, dreaming of what happens inside mornings. And revolution still be a pot of hot cereal to feed the babies. And revolution still be a pot of hot cereal to feed the babies.
It's really not over. The song isn't over. The song is like over 10 minutes. And I'm going to let him have his due.
Father God, we come to you today with broken hearts. Tired, God, tired. Tired of all the caskets. Tired of all the funerals, God. We're asking you to move, God. Move by your power. Move by your spirit. We're asking you, oh God, to speak life, because we're tired. The youth of our future, oh God, they are the kings and queens who are going to turn this thing around, God. But we need you, Lord, to take the guns out of their hands. We're asking you, oh God, to heal their minds, those who feel abandoned, and those who feel rejected, and those who feel depressed, and those who's given up on themselves. We're asking you, oh God, to move. Move by your power and move by your spirit, oh God, because it's time. It's time. It's time for change. God, we can't do this thing without you. We got to do more than carry picket signs. We got to do more than pray on the corners, oh God. We need divine intervention that only you and only you can provide, oh God. So we're asking you to move right now. Move, God, and save the lives of our young people. We can't do it without you, God. So we're thanking you right now, God, because we know, because we asked, that it's already done. We believe in you, God, right now that you've given us a divine intervention and that no more is it going to go down like this, oh God. That you're going to save our youth right now, oh God. You're going to speak life, oh God, and turn this thing around, oh God. We are believing you to move. Move, God. Move, God. Move, God.
I know it's hard.
I said move, God.
I know it's hard. But this is probably the most important part in the piece.
Because we can't do it without you. So let me say, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you. For moving right now. That a new day has come. And in our hearts and in our spirit, we say it's all right now. Because we believe
Hang
all
with
right.
me. Just hang. Just hang.
That's
all. That's all. Don't be scared. He said, stop playing and have some church up in here. Sometimes, just sometimes you need to call on your maker. The sun will run them choppers away. So, 1, 2. Let it ride. You gotta let it ride. That song is a good 11 minutes and 25 seconds. Nobody asked you, Sacred. The reason why it's important, the end of the song is incredibly important, is because of the fact that there's so many challenges here in the great city of Chicago that have maintained. I think, before we go on, I'm going to try to sparingly pour my sentiments and play these tunes, but I think that the strategy that Chicago was built upon, I probably should hold my tongue, but nothing ever gets accomplished by doing that. The strategy that Chicago was built upon was probably the maintenance of segregation. I have to say that, the maintenance of segregation, because they needed black folks to come here from the South. Of course, after the whole slavery situation was kind of debunked to a degree, they had to figure out what to do to appeal to these good black people who had just gotten free and some land and, some swag in the South. They were starting to feel themselves and, exert their power in the South. So they had to do something to try to create this whole drive for people to come to Chicago, in my opinion. This is the great migration that we're talking about. So what our people were commissioned to do is to come here and partake in commerce and business and community and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that did not happen. But what I will say is a lot of us got here and we were met with the disappointment of poverty and continued that cycle and continue that cycle of poverty. So one of the things that we're debating on on Facebook a bit, not on my post, but on another post, is why we can't get further and why we're not helping each other here. Well, that's not what the city was built to do, unfortunately. The city was built to make us blue-collar workers. Workers, not owners, not creative and successful. Workers. So, you can come here and you can make your life and you can get a job and, you can have a home and, maybe a little bit of, you can't say wealth, because I don't know a lot of really wealthy African-American people who live here in Chicago. I know a lot of wealthy white folks who live here in Chicago. I know a lot of rich black people, but are we extending that? I think is a question that needs to be asked. Are we here to help each other, foundationalize on something? That's what I saw in Atlanta. I saw people moving around. I saw people supporting each other. I saw people being proud of their cities. I saw people moving and shaking. And honestly, it's interesting because Atlanta, for all practical purposes, is a new city, meaning it was like impoverished for years. And somebody, I don't know the history as of yet, but somebody started to slowly build businesses. And, you know, gentrification may not be fair, but somebody is building and making room and stretching and shaping Atlanta instead of here in Chicago where people are maintaining. Chance the Rapper, Chicago's very own.
She can say in her voice, in her way, that she love me. With her eyes, with her smile, with her belt, with her hands, with her money. I am the thesis of her prayers. Her nieces and her nephews are just pieces of the layers. Only one she loves as much as me is Jesus Christ and Taylor. I got a future song singing for my grandma. You sing it too, but your grandma ain't my grandma. Mine's is handmade, pan-fried, sun-dried, southside, and beat the devil by a landslide. Praying with her hands tied. President of my fan club, Santa. Something told me I should bring my budget to church.
Slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday king.
You gotta move
slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for this whole week. I've been waiting for you, you're my Sunday king. Come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain down time. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house, 'cause it's gonna rain down time. It's gonna rain.
I come to church for the candy, your peppermints is the truth. I'm pessimistic on Monday, if I had tweaked and missed you. You look so good with the hat on, had to match with the shoes. Came in dressed in the satin, I came and sat in your pew. I come to Christmas for dinner, 50 rolls on my plate. Hella holes in my stocking, holding your pockets in place. I like my love with the budget, I like my hugs with a scent. You smell like light gas while the electricity rent. You sound like why the gospel choir got so tired. Singing this praise on a daily basis, so I gotta try it. You my dream catcher, dream team captain. Matter of fact, I ain't seen you in a minute. Let me take my butt to church.
You better come on in this house.
Come on in this house.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Down time.
Rain down.
It's gonna
It's gonna rain.
You better come on in this
Come
house.
on in this house.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Down time.
Rain down.
It's gonna rain. You gotta move it slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday king. You got to move slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for this whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday king. Slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday king. Come on in this house. It's gonna rain. Rain down time. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house. It's gonna rain. Rain down time. It's gonna rain.
Here we are once again. And see, do you hear these themes? This is a lot of church. A lot of church in these songs. Why? Because that's what we bought. That's of this whole thing. We brought the spirit with us. I'm going to play this Tiave tune, and if y'all don't know who Tiave is, it's a perfect opportunity for you to get familiar. Tiave is a Chicago-born and vocals and lyrics for the last, well, I've known her for a good 15 years, and she is getting some great energy behind her and her mission, and I am behind her and her mission, and we have at least two tunes that are set to come out soon from her. So we're going to play some Tiabe. Chicago Music Continues. Now, what I'll say is I'm not sure if this song has any vocals on it. I hope it does. She gave me a bunch of songs, and some of them weren't complete. So I'm going to rock with this one, and there she is. You have to know I have thoughts. Tons of thoughts right now. We'll talk about it after the song ends. Respectfully, Tiabe, Chicago's very own. Get in tune. Some good energy, ain't it? Yes. Woo! How sexy was that? So yeah, that was Tiabe. And my thoughts, I'm sure the song isn't finished. It's not on the market anywhere. And I have to tell you that I understand why. So in line with the conversation of our reasons for being brought here, I'll say brought, we were lured here to Chicago was to be a part of the economic development of Chicago. And we are developing Chicago, right? We are. We've been developing. The issue with that is that for those of us who are creative in our pursuits, the city has not been so focused on this type of development. Chicago's very conservative. Chicago's about politics and corporate structures, with a peppering of artistic endeavors in order to appeal. And so the other day, one of my comrades sent me an article while I was in Atlanta, and the headline of the article said something to the effect of, Chicago is like, why Chicago caters to everyone else's music scenes. And it's an article worth reading. I posted it on my page, personal page, day before yesterday. And it talks, talking about, we don't really have an identity. Like, folks don't want to hear that. We don't have our own identity. Commerce is the chase, and unfortunately, commerce didn't allow for the music business to seriously be a part of the commerce drive. So everything else can flourish, and you pepper in the entertainment concept. Of course, we have soul, blues, jazz, and most certainly house music to contribute, and we have contributed that music to the city. But they're like, we don't even have the infrastructure. We don't. Not that we couldn't, but we don't have the infrastructure to be able to thrive and flourish in that capacity. That's my thought. I could be wrong. Things are changing. I've been here for a healthy amount of time, and unfortunately, when I was driving in that car and I was hearing all these ATL rappers and singers on their radio, and I was like, at first I was like, is this some kind of tribute? And then I'm like, no, it's not a tribute. This is how ATL gets down, because those people were given an opportunity to flourish in that environment. Babyface, Click, Dallas. I can't remember Dallas's last name, but Jermaine Dupri, Click, all these people, somehow they flourished in those environments. And not that we don't have our own producers and honchos, but it's catering to someone else's needs and wants. So when you say Common, or you say Brian Trent, or you say, you can't say Frankie, because Frankie is not from here. We don't have a conversation about that. I'm going to play this Ron Trent, Chicago music, Chicago music. Ron Trent, Chicago's very own. Like I said before, we are here. We are talking about all things as it relates to my trip to ATL, as well as my return to the city of Chicago. I was going to say great. Unfortunately, great has not been my experience here. It's had some good moments as I did what I think that I could do to live my life and find some sense of stability and some sense of creative energy. I definitely will say, from my opinion, this is just my opinion based on my people, based on where I'm from, based on how I've moved thus far. When the city doesn't show you a lot of success or whomever, if you don't see what is success and you aren't associated heavily with success, then the likelihood of your success is not going to be that great. Now, some of us have been in machines with very successful folks, and they let us ride in the car with the success, but they did not give us the tools to be successful. We have to take responsibility for our part in that. Our part in that is following our intuition and being feverish about continuing to seek those who will inspire and motivate and give us the tools that we need to be successful. And I will just say that because, you know, I had a bunch of times when I was considering leaving Chicago, and I was paying rent in places, other places. And, you know, you just get caught up in comfort. You get caught up in what is working for you as opposed to just throwing caution to the wind and leaving. And there are a lot of people here in Chicago who have stuck by the city, although the city, from my opinion, isn't making it easy for some of us. So we have a bunch of disgruntled DJs who are angry because they didn't get to make their mark on the city and make their mark potentially on the world based on the kind of environments that DJs and producers are kept here in the city. So my encouragement based on my finds, you know, I've always said this, I have to leave. I have to leave. If you want to make it, you have to leave. Common, Kanye, and Shaka Khan left to pursue their dreams. So the question is, regardless of how old you are you going to leave?
I will love you anyway, even if you cannot stay. I think you are the one for me. Here is where you ought to be. I just want to satisfy, though you're not mine, I can't deny it. Don't you hear me talking, baby? Love me now, I'll go crazy. Oh, sweet thing. Oh, you know you're my
Jedi. Javon Jackson, Chicago's very own, is in the building with us. Cosmic kisses to you, Jedi, for tuning in for another Morning Love session. We do this every Wednesday. I have to do that every Wednesday around the hour of 10 or 10:30, and we go for almost 3 hours of music. And of course, we were talking about Chicago music because I just got back from ATL, and ATL was all about ATL. And, you know, I was driving and I had a little tinge. I don't get jealous much, but I had a little tinge of jealousy because I was like, damn, look how hard they going for their city. And I was just like, where in Chicago do we do this? I'm going to take I'm going to take partial responsibility for that as well. Because if you're not in environments that tell you to go hard for your city, and this is the reason why you should go hard for your city, then you probably won't. And so when I think about, like, I'm looking through my catalog right now, and I'm like, I know, because I've done the research based on my Calling Our Ancestors project, I know the wonderful fabulousness that came from this city, and I don't see it around me. And that's part of the reason why the Calling Our Ancestors project is what it is. I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to get back out on the street and continue my street art project in that capacity before, just before. I'm not giving you all my good business today, but we need to see success around us. It needs to look like us. It needs to encourage the movement. So when you create all this art, that's one thing. Creation is important. It's one thing. But then when you have to, if you choose to, take this art and try to make a business of it, having to convince your own people, and this is a black thing, not just a Chicago thing per se, but because Chicago is one of the major cities here, you got to consider that. We got to talk about the fact that our people aren't ready to support our art, which is part of the reason why we have issues continuing it. So it's just like, boy, you can't make no living off of DJing. Just go and get you a regular job. There it is, because everybody around you got regular jobs. Nobody is aspiring to do better or more to continue that. So, for instance, and this is no diss because success is what you make it, most certainly. And we can simply succeed by continuing to do our art and getting bookings to be able to do it. But how much do you have to sacrifice for that if you cannot be focused? And that's one of my challenges, because I'm challenged by my brand to market and promote what I do to the point that I'm not quite doing as much of the art as I should be doing, because I haven't been able to focus. I'm not going to stop. The quality of my products has to improve in order for them to make sense to do. So in some capacity, I have to give up something in order to create. That's where we are. Kenny Burke is from Chicago. He made this really dope inspirational tune. I'm going to play it for you. And of course you know it, because it's been sampled and remade and resampled. hey, 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 hey. Wake it up. Wake it up. Wake it up and move it around. Come on.
Keep on believing all the dreams inside of you, and don't stop achieving, yeah. Let some love shine on through, and don't fight the feeling, just keep on dealing. Everybody keep on moving, 'cause I know we can get it over, so baby,
Hey, give it all you got. Hey,
let's keep rising to the top,
give it all you got. Hey,
and we won't let nobody stop us.
give it all you got. Oh,
Keep trying, yeah.
hey, give it all you got.
Oh, baby,
Hey, 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 give it all you got. Hey, give it all you got. Wake up your body and wake up your body and move it around. Hey, hey, hey. You've got to wake up your body and wake up your body and wake up your body and move it around. Come on. That's some inspiring.
bedtime illusions create a lot of confusion,
Hey,
but the time has finally come. Let's get it done. Keep moving, yeah.
Hey.
Moving. Let's keep rising to the top,
give it all you got.
and don't let nobody stop.
No, no.
Just keep trying, yeah.
Give it all you got.
Keep on giving to each other. Give it all you got. Spread some love a little far. Give it all you got. Keep on giving all you got. Give it all you got.
Hey.
We're rising to the top. We won't let nobody stop what we're doing. Yeah. Give it all you got. Keep on moving your body. Give it all you got. The feeling's getting strong. Yeah, yeah. Give it all you got.
Check it out.
What we're doing.
Give it all you got.
I'm moving your body.
Give it all you got.
Feeling's getting strong.
So you don't realize how happy I was. Like when I started doing morning love sessions about I don't know, it's been 2 years actually. And I wasn't very focused on doing them. And I played this tune and it made the hair stand on my legs. That was last year because the idea that he was from Chicago is, because I don't think Kenny Burke has ascended yet, the idea that he is from Chicago and he created this song was like saying, this is a blueprint for folks here. For me, like I don't know what he was saying to you, but I was thinking when I heard it, I was like, he's telling you that it's not going to be easy, but you got to give it all you got and let nobody stop you and keep rising to the top and wake up your body and move it. Come on, that's like simple math, right? Crazy part about it is, like, I didn't realize he was from Chicago until probably about 4 or less years ago. Yeah. And again, we're talking about a major tune that was dope enough that it superseded Chicago and ended up being sampled and remade and hooks and chops and all of this stuff to make other tunes in other regions mad dope, including New York City, of course. And so I assumed, based on the idea of the fact that this sample is so prevalent in New York's R&B and hip hop scene, that he came from the East Coast. Nope. Chicago's very own. You know I gotta do this. We gotta have a conversation about J Hood.
Are you a man who loves and cherishes and cares for me? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Are you a guard in a prison, maximum security? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Do we stay home all the time? 'Cause you want me to yourself. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Or am I locked away out of fear that I find someone else? Is that you? Is that you? Well, I don't like leaving under your spotlight just because you think I might find somebody worth. Oh, I don't like living under your spotlight. Maybe if you treat me right, you won't have to worry. Is this a relationship fulfilling your needs as well as mine? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Or is this just my sentence? Am I doing time? Is that you? Is that you? And if this is love, real love, then I'm saying no doubt. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? But if I'm just love's prisoner, then I'm busted out. Is that you? Is that you? Oh, baby, I don't like leaving under your spotlight just because you think I might. Just because you think I might find somebody worthy. Find somebody worthy. I don't like leaving under your spotlight. Maybe if you treat me right, you won't have to worry. No. Oh, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What the hell do you think you're doing? Loving me so wrong. Baby, all I do is try to show you that you're mine. One and only guy. No matter who may come along, open your eyes, 'cause baby, I don't lie.
Wonderfully talented. Wonderfully talented.
Living under your spotlight just because you think I might find somebody worthy. Living under your spotlight. Maybe if you treat me right, you won't have to worry. I don't lie.
Yes. So I'm gonna have a little bit of conversations between these because I have to document this information and of course, you know, that's how I roll. It's like turn the mic on, you make notes, you listen to your notes later, and then you create something else from your notes. So these are my notes. So what I think, you know, from a critical standpoint, we are highly critical as a people. I think we are definitely very critical of each other in the city. I think it comes from a place of failure. And that's two ways. So if people are overly critical of you, then you probably won't try. If they're overly critical of you, then you probably won't be able to succeed because they will find your flaws and they will expose them to everyone else so that those people don't support you, and they most certainly will make your possibilities dimmer. That is what I have experienced, unfortunately, from the city mostly. I'm not saying all of my endeavors have been total losses, because the blessing is that I've learned a lot from doing the things that I do. But I most certainly know, based on being a woman, based on being a black woman, based on having people around me who have been painfully insecure, I have had opportunities to be aligned with people who are doing bigger and better, and the level of encouragement that I could have used from them was not there. Then there's me and my natural issue with confidence that has not aided me in my desire to do better for myself. I'm not beating myself up because I'm doing okay. I most certainly could be doing better, and I will be doing better. I'm doing better than I have been doing in the last year. Last year was ended up being a very challenging year for me, but I'm doing better than I was then, and that's important to note. I'm going to play this Terry Hunter and Teresa Griffin, two of Chicago's very own. Terry Hunter, thank God, sought to be aligned with some of New York's premier DJ and producers, and just not to take away from his credit or talent on his own. And that's what I will say about Jennifer Hudson. These people are talented. The machine that they have to get into in order to further changes, and that's not a bad thing. It changes and it prepares their talent for bigger audiences. And unfortunately, we need those associations with other people who are doing bigger and better in order to certify us, because we aren't certifying ourselves. Should be certifying ourselves. Unfortunately, that's not happening. So again, this is Teresa Griffin and Terry Hunter, Chicago's very own. Teresa Griffin is still trooping and making her way, and that's most certainly a good thing. the other day, I had this little argument with a buddy of mine about this particular tune because he couldn't hear what I heard in the tune. And what I heard was a little bit of Teddy Pendergrass. If you listen to the chords and you listen to the drums, it sounds a lot like a Teddy Pendergrass disco tune. I have theories, of course. I reached out to Terry Hunter several years ago, and I asked to be a shadower. And unfortunately, to tell these stories, this is my documentation. So I don't know. It was well over 10 years ago. I reached out to Terry Hunter, and I was just like, I know you know who I am, blah, 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 blah. For whatever reason, I'm like, I am looking to, understudy someone who's making their way in the industry. And I'm like, I'm very astute in the ways of social media and such. And I extended my services to shadow him. Now, shadowing for me of a DJ would include taking photos, taking video, and loading that content to the DJ's pages and making sure that it's circulated. And of course, I have a little bit of graphic design experience, enough to be able to convey those images in a way that could help draw more interest to particular brands, which is where Epstein Consulting is spawning from. And he ignored my entire pitch. And I'm not sharing this as a diss to him. I'm just sharing it to let you know that in my aspirations, I've reached out to people who I thought might be super dope to work with, and I have mostly been rejected. So in addition to not having the necessary playing field and structure to make sure that you're successful, sometimes partnering or trying to partner with those people will not get you the progress that you might want. What I will say, though, based on that, is that if it's not supposed to happen that way, then it's not supposed to happen that way. But what is supposed to happen that is for you is seeking you like you're seeking it. And like I said, I'm not going to give you too much more of my story, as it is changing. It's changing and growing as I speak. Carl Thomas, Chicago's very own. And, of course, these are more commercial folk who have seen some success, but I want to make sure to mention them because what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to format one show a month that is about highlighting and spotlighting Chicago's music. It's important because I'm making Chicago's music, regardless to where I end up in this great country. Because I'm not going to forecast where I'm going or where I will end up. But if you're from the city, then the whole idea is to make sure that people realize and, kind of reference our city for all of the wonderful things that we have to offer that are worth partaking in. So that's my commitment.
she gets home. Hey. Whispers me to sleep and wakes me up again. Sometimes I swear I hear her call my name. You wash away the pain, summer rain. I don't mind if it rains for rain. If it rains, let it rain on me. I don't mind. If it rains for rain. Oh, let it rain, let it rain. Oh, so go ahead and make it right. Bring the sunshine back, baby, again. Go ahead and make it right there. Tender touches, keep it right there. Summer rain. It puts me to sleep and wake me. Oh, yeah. Calling my name, calling my name, yeah. Summer rain. So baby, won't you be my summer rain? Whispers me to sleep and wake
Hey.
me. Baby, won't you be my summer rain? Sometimes I swear. Oh, say baby, won't you be my summer rain? So baby, won't you be my summer rain? You be my summer rain. Hey. Go ahead and why don't you go ahead and make it rain? Sunshine
Back again.
Go ahead and
Make it rain.
baby, would you rain on me?
Back again. Hey.
I need you to make it rain.
Give it to me once again. Love that tune. That's one of my favorites by Carl Thomas. Super dope artist from, oops, here I go. I think he was from the suburbs of Chicago. But, you know, we do that too. Like, we're having this whole debate about ATL and how everybody says they're from Atlanta when they're from Covington and DeKalb and Sandy Springs and Stone Mountain and all of these places I got a chance to discover while I was there on this particular trip. It most certainly wasn't my first time in Atlanta, but it was my first time driving in the city by myself and navigating on my own, and that was real interesting for me. Again, what we're doing for those of you who might be listening anonymously is we're playing Chicago music, and the reason why we're playing Chicago music is because I went to ATL and their musical environments were full of music artists from their city, and with the exception of Vocalo, I have to say, we don't have that kind of consistent, I won't say that it doesn't happen because people do Chicago tribute mixes and things of that nature. We don't have a consistency about conveying the idea of our talent in the city. So, like, and I have to say this, and y'all could do what you want to do with it because I don't really care that much. Vocalo does support Chicago artists. It has a focus to only support the younger, because Jamila Woods gets a lot of tick from Chicago's Vocalo radio station. I think Saba Pivot gets a lot of tick. Chance the Rapper got a lot of tick. And there are a few other Chicago-based artists who are getting tick from Vocalo radio station. That does not include a lot of dance music, which is born and raised in the city. I submitted a tune that I did with Kahari, disco poet Kahari B, as well as Maggie. Oh God, I'm tripping. Maggie Brown, Oscar Brown Jr.'s daughter, and Sean Wallace a few years ago. We did a tune together called Apocalyptic Conversation, and I submitted it to Vocalo Radio, and that tune got no response or play at all. So it doesn't work that way for all of us, but it is certainly a format that if you fit their format, then you might get play. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I've attempted to do quite a few things to insert myself in our Chicago environment, and once again, I've not quite been successful doing that because it wasn't meant. So we're going to play this Pevin Everett. What I'm doing is, what I feel or felt this morning based on the conversation that I had with one of my DJ comrades on Facebook was, everything that I've done up to this point has been, in my opinion, at this point, in preparation for greater and bigger and better. And I will say that I am most certainly prepared. So I'm going to play this Pevin Everett tune, and, of course, Javon will probably have conversation after in my inbox about the idea of it. But Pevin Everett is a Chicago area. I'll say Chicago area because if anybody really knows Pevin, they know that he's from the suburbs of Chicago, native and very talented musician, singer, songwriter, and producer.
Transform
changed my life. You changed my Unchain my mind. Oh, you know you changed it. Unchain my mind. Oh, you know you changed it. Unchain my mind. You changed my what's meant to be, deep in my heart, a wondrous star, found inside a paradise, a changing tide, unchain my mind. For now I see what's meant to be, deep in my heart, a wondrous star. Unchain my mind, unchain my mind, unchain my mind. You changed my life.
Peterson Terra, the band Chicago, from Chicago.
Heard you know my heart and soul.
Now you better know. Peter Cetera got an opportunity to open for him a couple years back in Hawaii on the island of Maui. That was interesting. He did not do any up-tempo songs. It was a love song session. And I was so ready for him to give this life so people could boogie, but he was all about ballads and, love tunes and things of that nature. Sand Doogie is back in the building, y'all. We are still here, making our way through these Chicago tunes. So far, Kevin Everett, Shaka Khan, Tiabe, Avery R. Young, Kanye, Curtis Mayfield, Mavis Staples, tons and tons, Minnie Riperton. We are continuing what I will now dedicate once a month to is the legacy of Chicago music from my perspective. Chicago, Chicago, hey! Chicago, Chicago. Yeah. I'm a street player. I'm a street player. Yeah. Yeah. So once again, it's your girl Fathom, DJ live and direct via Spreaker. We are here inside of our morning love session, and it is now the hour of 12:33, which is good because that means that everybody's moving and the energy is passing, and we're in thought in our process of productivity. I hope my wheels are turning spiritually and intuitively, and sometimes that's enough to wipe me out as if I've done a workout the entire day. So I am in a different space and place with love and grace. I'm going to play this Kick Push by Lupe Fiasco. I got a bunch of, not a bunch. I have a few dates coming up on 4/27. I will be headed to the Walk-In, which is, I think it's in Logan Square here in Chicago. For a little session of soulful sounds. They were specific in asking me not to play house music. And in line with that idea, which I find painfully frustrating, not that, I have sets where house music doesn't get represented at all. Unfortunately, it's the music I make right now. And so when I was told that they didn't want any house music specifically, it kind of took me back. In line with the conversation that we're having, somebody is really, really cool with coming into the city of Chicago where house music was born and bred, and being specific about telling Chicago DJs not to reference it, although it is our city's music. And that is slightly problematic to me. Now, of course, I'm taking the gig, And because they said not to play house music, they didn't say not to play the influences. And you know that's where house music comes from. Is house music was a hybrid of a bunch of influences put to electronic beats in this city. So you can't say soul or funk or disco or blues or jazz or gospel in the city of Chicago without referencing house music, because we got the influence of Chicago's house music from every style of music. So having said that, I'm just going to say that if you decide to fuck with me at the walk-in, that you need to know that in some capacity I will navigate in spaces that may not be so house, but I most certainly will be referencing soul, funk, and disco and jazz in that fashion. So it might be my first and last time spinning that walk-in. Lupe Fiasco, Chicago's very own.
What up, y'all? Yeah. Woo. If y'all ain't know, I go by the name of Lupe Fiasco, representing that first and 15. Yeah. And this one right here, I dedicate this one right here to all my homies out there grinding. You know what I'm saying? Legally and illegally. You know what I'm talking about? So, check it out. First got it when he was 6, didn't know any tricks. Matter of fact, first time he got on it, he slipped. Landed on his hip and busted his lip. For a week he had to talk with a list like this. Now we can end the story right here, but shorty didn't quit, it was something in the air. Yeah, he said it was something so appealing, he couldn't fight the feeling, something about it. He knew he couldn't doubt it, couldn't understand it. Branded, since the first kick flip he landed. Labeled a misfit, a bandit. Cocoon, cocoon, cocoon. His neighbors couldn't stand it, so he was banished to the park. Started in the morning, one stopped after dark. Yeah, when they said it's getting late in here. So I'm sorry, young man, there's no skating here. And so we kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. And away he rolled, just a rebel to the world with no place to go. And so
Yes,
we
sir.
kick, push, kick,
Kick, push, kick, push,
kick,
kick, push, coast.
So come and skate with me, just a rebel looking for a place to be.
So let's kick, hey, and push, hey, and coast. Hey, hey, ha, hey, ha, ha.
And got a little older, became a better roller. Yeah, no helmet, hell bent on killing himself, is what his mama said. But he was feeling himself, got a little more swagger in his style. Met his girlfriend, she was clapping in the crowd. Love is what was happening to him now. He said I would marry you, but I'm engaged to these aerials and varials, and I don't think this board is strong enough to carry two. She said, bow, I weigh 120 pounds. Now, let me make one thing clear, I don't need to ride yours, I got mine right here. So she took him to a spot he didn't know about.
Hey.
Some odd in the apartment parking lot,
she said.
I don't normally take dates in here. Security came and said, I'm sorry, there's no skating here.
So let's kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast.
And the way they roll, just lovers intertwined with no place to go. And
So
they
let's kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast.
So come and skate with me, just a rebel looking for a place to be.
So let's kick, hey, let's push, 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 let's coast.
And coast, and coast, and coast, and coast.
So I have to tell you that for the last 2 years, three. For the last 3 years, I've been a part of a festival called Brews, Brats, and Brass, and that happens normally at the end of the summer. It's more of an Oktoberfest here in Chicago in Hyde Park. And Kick Push is one of the songs that we reference in our set. It's me normally and Jocelyn Winston and my flutist, Fred Jackson. He plays flute and saxophone, and we normally rock together in a DJ/live PA fashion. And that happens the end of September. Last year they changed the name to the Fall Forward Fest. Hopefully they will change that name back to Brews, Brats, and Brass if they decide to continue. having said that, I just got booked to play the Hyde Park Brew Fest on June 2nd. And that's a Sunday. So if you're in the Hyde Park area for the Brew Fest, I will be taken to deck so far around 12 o'clock p.m. And my goal, I probably shouldn't tell you my goal. I don't really care about genres no more. I can't. Because there's so much dope music to play. And for me to just roll in and be like, okay, I'm just going to play all house and old school is not fair to my furthering. It's not fair to those people who make good music currently and myself as well. So I don't know. I'm tinkering. I think I got a little concept that I'm playing with as we speak. But yeah, so that's happening. And then there's this thing called the Wall Wave Fest that's happening in August at Navy Pier. I got booked to play that. That's cool. And then I'm headed to Cali, some suburb in the field of Cali in August to play something that is being called the Pussy Pedestal Fest. And it's an all-women's driven, not all women participants or audience, but a all-women featured festival that is being headed up by a Chicago native by the name of Somalia Rabi, who has left the great city of Chicago and headed out to Oakland, and she is commandeering this festival, and they asked me to come and be a part of that. And I will be closing for the one and only Georgia Ann Muldrew. You heard it here first. Nobody else knows of this. So the goal is to have a good time this summer. I most certainly am continuing to take. She said, is all that on your event page? Is Sam trying to manage me right now, Jesus? Because I sure could use some help, Lord. I'm leaking it, Sam. I'm slowly leaking the information. Why? Yes, she is. Because I'm not very encouraged right now. My encouragement does not live in Chicago anymore. Sorry, it doesn't. I'm tired, is what I'll say. I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to convince people to support me who don't even see me. I'm invisible here, basically. You know, people who know me, but ain't nobody trying to, put any fire in my machine. And I'm okay with that because, well, some of us know that, I probably won't be here next year. So that's just the truth of the matter. Chicago's very own Derek Carter. Chicago's very own. Hey, we're going to kill this set for the next, how long do we have now? Hour. Playing all things Chicago, and we will do this once a month. I just made that determination today. So if you got new music or different music or cats who you think need some tick, most certainly I will be taking suggestions and we will rotate. I have a growing list, of course, from my Calling Out Ancestors project as well as some other spaces. Javon, if you got tracks, you most certainly can send me your tracks and I will add them to the queue of Chicago music I'm going to be featuring. My list includes the Shy Lights, Chief Keef, Shauna, Patti Smith, Little Lewis, Mark Farina, 10 City, Maurice Joshua, Earth, Wind and Fire.
Dance to a beat that
all of
seems
that.
out of time, to the one you feel in the metronome of your mind. Does it offend you that our rhythm looks strange or causes your thinking to be rearranged? Could it be that you would understand this beat to which we dance more clearly had you been given a chance? So as you struggle to find the feel with your feet, can you dance to my beat? 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 Can you dance to my beat?
Expressions of freedom from the descendants of slaves. God gives us the strength for new horizons we must break. First bondage, then mental, now financially oppressed. With this beat we dance, we know we passed the test. So as you struggle to catch the rhythm with your feet, ask yourself, can you dance to my beat? 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 Can you dance to my beat?
I'm trying to be cool. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, kids. Yes, elders. Yes, ancestors. Yes, God. Ha. Yes. Yes. Gene Chandler, Chicago's very own.
Real good and your heart to top, yeah, yeah. Baby, get on down. Get on down. You sure got style, don't you ever stop, no, no. Baby, get on down. Get on down. Girl, you're moving everywhere. You sure hooked up, girl. You make people stop and stare. Ow, get down.
Chicago, Chicago. Hey, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Morris White. Chicago, Chicago. I'm just running through these jams. Hey. So I must tell you that Kenny Dope put his hands on this girl. By Brazilian rhythms, Earth, Wind, and Fire, touched by Kenny Dope. So what's happening right now is a little edit of Herbie Hancock. Chicago, Chicago. Chicago, Chicago. Herbie Hancock, Stars in Your Eyes. My big brother Kevin is headed to the city of Chicago. I can't wait to chop it up with him and also to see what he thinks about the Chicago climate as it pertains to artists and musicians and the like upon his arrival. want to make sure that you know that it's not a grass is greener kind of thing that I'm experiencing. You know, you got to plant your feet where you can flourish. And I'm trying to plant my feet here, but I'm not quite flourishing the way that I would like to. So I'd like other people's opinions of Chicago. And, you know, they might be fabulous. We'll see. All about your perspective. Yes. No, I did not know that. Thank you for those factoids, Kev. Always looking for that trivia. So, you know, I got to play one of my favorite Chicago's tunes. You know, I've had some interesting run-ins with these people on Facebook. I don't know if Facebook is a good or a bad thing for us as artists and business people in terms of representation and how we end up kind of showing our asses in these environments, unfortunately. Yes, indeed. I'm going to need all the information because I've decided to dedicate one of my shows monthly to conveying Chicago music and Chicago artists and those who come from here, because we have not so many representations as I found in Atlanta. For Atlanta's ever-flourishing musical environment, we don't really have those infrastructures set up. Yes. If you know anything about Fathom DJ, you know the importance of this tone. Yeah. Hey. But you can take my love, it's free. Said you can take my love, it's free. No, it's not for sale, but you can have it. Hey, you can prevail. I am here to share. Hey, yeah. Hey. If You're pure in heart, you have peace, yeah.
Don't you straight in the dark.
Follow me, I can show you the way. Won't you trust me? It doesn't cost a thing. Just walk my way.
No, it's not the same.
Hey,
But you can have it. You can never fail.
hey,
If you have it, you can prevail.
hey.
If you have it,
I am here to share.
because I have it.
Say hey,
If you have it,
say hey,
if you have
hey.
it, do you have
Do
it?
ya?
Do you have
Do ya?
it? Do you have it?
Do ya?
You gotta have
Yes.
it.
Oh no! Oh no! Yes. So you gotta sing these words with me. Patience is the key, you see. Don't ever give in to the enemy. No, don't you entertain the enemy. Let them see that love is the key. For they are weak in mind, said weak in mind. So don't you waste your time, so don't waste your time.
Because love will find
It will find
a way to shine
in time.
in time.
Hey,
No, it's not for sale.
yes,
But you can have it.
you can never fail.
If you have it.
You can prevail.
If you have it.
I am here to share.
Because I have it.
Hey, say hey, if you have it. Hey,
If you have it.
to do ya,
Have it.
you gotta.
Have it.
To do ya,
Have it.
you gotta. Yes, it's one of my favorite tunes. I'm gonna say in life, I have a bunch, but this is one of my favorite. Do You Have It? DJ Spin, LaRoyale, and Chicago's very own Maurice Joshua. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You see that black boy over there running scared. His old man in a bottle.
Chicago, Chicago.
He done quit his 9 to 5. He drink full time. Now he's living in a bottle.
Chicago, Chicago, yeah.
See that black boy over there running scared. His old man got a problem, and it's a bad one. He ain't done pawned off damn near everything. His old woman waiting for a bottle. And don't you think it's a crime when time after time after time people in a bottle? There's people living in a bottle. Listen to me. See that sister, her show was fine. Oh, she started drinking wine from the bottle. She told first man illegal, now he's in the bottle. And now we watch him every day. He's trying to chase the prisons away from the bottle. You turn to me, you said, now, don't you think it's a crime? The way time after time, friends of mine in the bottle. There's people showing up in the bottle. Come on, hit it a lick one time, stick. Come and look at me, you know where I'm bound to be in the bottle. Turn around, look around on any corner. If you see some brother looking like a goner, it's gonna be me. Sing the song. Na 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 na. Hey, na 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 na. Hey. Hey, $9 a bottle of wine, $9 and a bottle of wine, $9 get a bottle of wine, $9 get a bottle of wine, a bottle. Hey, said all that I'm concerned about is a bottle. It can turn me inside out from a bottle. Said all I want, said all I want, said all I want, said all I want. Since I've been back on the bound of a bottle. It's Chicago music, baby. And I must say, I was actually gonna blend into this next tune, but I think when you think about it from the history of Chicago and its artist community, this song is so in line with some of the genres and some of the issues and the problems. We're not going to talk entirely about all the problems, but the sentiment of the tune is about bottles. And if you think about it from the standpoint of what people do to cope, it is most certainly a mechanism that some of us have found to be able to cope in this environment. I can go heavy on y'all. I'm not going to do it. All I'm going to say is that blues and that jazz and that soul is all in that tune, the bottle, and it's all in the music of this community of Chicago that I am referencing on this day. We're going to take it to this level because one of my favorites, still with us, thank God, still aspiring, thank God, still putting a spin for our music is Larry Heard, who is also known as Mr. Fingers, Chicago's very own. Living in Memphis. I can't wait to visit him. Quality is ass for this tune, but just rock with it.
I am here just for you. You've been waiting and wanting. I'll see you through. You've been down. Yes, I see. You've been burning and yearning. I'll set you free. You can feel it. I can feel it. It's a feeling deep inside. Don't you feel it? All these feelings in my heart, in your mind, you can feel where I'm coming from. Don't be deceived. You
you're coming from. I know the need. So let us wipe away this sadness and fulfill our dreams. It's deep inside you and me. Can you feel?
Lou Rawls, Chicago, Chicago. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, children. Chicago, Chicago. Hey, with a little Frankie Knuckles twist. Lou Rawls. Hey. So my goal is going to be to find more Chicago artists, new and old, for my once a month Chicago dedication in this podcast called Morning Love, Morning Love. Good morning, love, morning, love. Good morning, love. I appreciate you always for tuning in with me on this ride. Yes. This your grandma's music right now. This is my grandma's music right now, actually. My grandma fancied Lou Rawls. So I fancy Lou Rawls. Opal Lee got a birthday coming up. It's good energy. Come on through, Opal Lee. Where you at, girl? I see you. I see you.
You'll never see what you found in me. You'll be searching and
know it's a banger. So in this session, I'm just scratching the surface because I was like going back and forth about actually doing Morning Love this morning. Energetically, I'm going through some things right now. I'm preparing for transformation, and it is a very taxing process on the spirit and the physical body, but we are here live and direct via Spreaker. Morning Love happens every Wednesday somewhere around the hour of 10:30. I'm your host and instructor for this class, Fathom DJ. Another one of my favorites, Chicago's very own Vic Lavender. Oh, I'm going to curb my Chicago enthusiasm shortly because we have a way of being very critical. And we also have a way of, allowing our unfortunate experiences to lead us. And as I prepare for bigger and better things, I have to let all of those spaces go because you're the best for all our endeavors, especially for the public. But I can't do without her. Having said that, one of my favorite tunes by Vic Lavender, Chicago to New York. Hey! From Chicago to New York. From Chicago to New York. From Chicago to New York. Chicago to New York. Yes, indeed. The godfather of my house music. Little Lewis. One of the reasons why Fathom DJ exists.
Cha-cha-cha. Took my baby to the hop last night, and what to my surprise, when we got there, she hit me with the news right between the eyes. Said she couldn't do the cha-cha-cha. She said she couldn't do the cha-cha-cha. She couldn't, no, she couldn't cha-cha-cha. Ooh, my baby couldn't do the cha-cha-cha. I told her not to worry, they'd play some other dance. But we sat there for an hour and a half, and we never got a chance. For every song they played was the cha-cha-cha. Every song they played was the cha-cha-cha. Tom Dooley, T for two, cha-cha-cha. Ooh, every number was the cha-cha-cha. I told her not to worry, there's only one thing we can do. Baby, if you let me take you by the hand, I'm gonna teach this dance to you. Then I taught her 1, 2,
hey.
1, 2,
hey.
Up now, baby, back
Sam
now.
Cooke, Chicago's very own.
Turn now, right, let's cross now. Ooh, I taught my baby how to cha-cha-cha.
Have you seen the documentary?
And was I surprised?
It's a surface scratcher. It's a surface scratcher, but you need to see the documentary because it'll really get your brain moving, I hope.
Now my baby loves to do the cha-cha-cha. Ooh, she loves to do the cha-cha-cha. She likes her, ooh, she likes the cha-cha-cha. Ooh, everybody likes the cha-cha-cha. They do it 1, 2, all right, 1, 2.
How about this one? Lolita Holloway.
Why don't you make up your mind?
Chicago's
Stop
very
wasting all
own.
my time. Why don't you make up your mind? Stop wasting all my time.
Tell me, what am I to do? I can tell that something's wrong when I look at you. You never follow through with words you start to say to me. Your actions are so strange. I wonder what can have brought the
sure if this is correct. I'm not sure if this is correct. We're going to let this girl ride, and I'm going to find the true Lolita Holloway tune, because I'm not sure if this was labeled correctly. That's what happened when you trade files. I'm going to have to do some research. I missed that one. Lolita Holloway, Chicago's very own. She always reads people in her songs. Touch him, honey, don't you try. Cause you don't stand a storm or chance in hell. Hey, you better, girl, you never win. You better, I belong to him, can't you see? Yes. Yes.
To her.
It's what's up front that counts. Whoa! I'm gonna tell it to you anyway.
You see, girl, let me ask you something. Have you ever had any so-called
Best girlfriends.
You know them kind.
Laugh in your face and try to take your man behind your back.
Ooh! You know what I'm talking about.
Let me tell you something.
You know where I'm coming from, but let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I don't play around with girls like that.
You know, I don't really like to socialize with them. Because I feel like this. What's mine is mine. And what's yours is yours. See, I don't want nothing that's yours. I don't want nothing that looks at you.
You see, I know I got my man.
Hey!
I know, honey, I know I got every little parts of. I got.
Don't she sound like a black woman from Chicago?
To the tip of it.
By way of the South.
I know what I got. But let me tell you this. You see, when you got somebody that loves you,
You know they love
you
you.
know they love.
You can stand up here like me and tell the whole wide world, hey, that I got my man. Hey, that I got my man. That I got my man. That I got my man. You know I got him out. Pow! Do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh! Yes. I got him. Let me hear ya. Oh, let me hear ya. I got him. Hey. Ain't gonna let nobody take a man away from me, you know. Ain't gonna let nobody take my man away from me. Squeeze him, love him, how to love him. Tease him, how to squeeze him. Love him, how to rub him. Hey! Chicago, Chicago, yeah. So we pretty much scratched the surface. We most certainly will revisit the topic. It's almost time for the show to be over. So I'm going to send you cosmic kisses. I appreciate what you give to me. And as I ran down the list of people, Chicago.
All the records I hold, the lives I affect, the connect, the control. With me in your basement, your mama got blow. I provide the vibe to keep the strippers on poles. New me, the black experience, the glorious told. From a smooth as old bowl, so I rock gold and platinum. Some cats I hold no to cash for them. On streets I rap with them, in ghettos I blast for them. Mash with them at the party and all. Be the universal language that's the body and all. With the Billie Holiday, Bob Marley and y'all. Y'all feel most high when I be in y'all system. With the rhythm I up jump the rhythm. Shame I rely on record labels to push me. Since the bush, I've been y'all way to escape. You 8 tracks, wax, CDs, and tapes. I am music.
I was just saying to myself the other day, because of this I must say, we know.
I open the eyes of many. Stars I wrote in the skies for your lows and highs. Open your mind to hear me. In the streets I beat cops and obsolete. On every station that's hot, you can't stop my heat. I taught Jay and Dre how to rock the beat. On what's going on today, yo, I got to speak. I take the stand. Yo, you can feel me bad. Whether it's Larry Graham or
Steely Dan.
Live, I be killing it, man. For how long I survive, yo, I'm realer than man. Got a soft side, but I'm still a man. For me, women cry and children dance. I'm trying to eat. I could have got a meal and ran, but like slide for the fam. Still I stand. I am music.
I am music. We are music. Chicago is music. Black people are music. White people are music. I ain't trying to do all of that with y'all today. I'm not. We got like 3 minutes left. I need to send some cosmic kisses to Charles Postley Jr. the second. Yes, that's my cousin Junebug, who works at a place called Mouth of the South in the great area of Cabbagetown. So like Atlanta works like this. They got little sections just like Chicago got sections. Like Chicago has Chatham, Chicago has Rogers Park, Chicago has Andersonville, Chicago has South Shore, Chicago has Bronzeville, Chicago has Hyde Park. So they got all these little areas that are almost cities of their own to a degree. And my cousin works there. Also, Kay Carson. I know her as Kay Franklin Carson in my phone. That's how long we've known each other, for holding me down while I was in Atlanta, city of Atlanta. Joe Russo, who is is now a resident of the city of Atlanta. And a bunch of other folks that are that I've connected with in Atlanta. Thank you so much to my Chicago family. Like I said before, we're going to continue to do these sessions once a month. I'll have to figure out what the actual period may be. I don't know what's this, the second or the third Saturday, the second or the third week of the month maybe will be when we do our Chicago music thing, and I'll dig more deeply and expose you to some folks like Joey Purple, who you probably didn't know is from Chicago, and Saba Pivot, who is from Chicago. These are hip-hop artists, and they're very soulful, and I'm becoming very fond of their work. In addition, I will not be at Bureau Bar this Sunday. We will be back next Sunday, prayerfully. We will be back next Sunday for another session of Sunday's Affair. And again, I have a list of events that are coming up, and you will probably see that on one of my Instagram pages. I have 4, but I'm only showing 3 right now of my Instagram pages, as well as my story section, both on Facebook and on